Hey, Beastista here, and welcome to week one of the VDL. This week, I'm doing a live premiere against the Rold Gold Pretzels, who is coached by Gumi. Gumi has historically been one of the best coaches in the VDL, and so this is a very tough coach. However, I feel like I have a reasonable matchup, definitely given the fact that I have a monotype team. So here's the team matchup with my team on the left and their team on the right. Looking at their team, I definitely expecting to see some specific Pokemon, namely Clefairy, Swampert, Aegislash, and Nihilego. Those are the big ones I'm expecting. And then the main question is basically, are they going to lead into more of a Trick Room mode with Nihilego as their Trick Room setter, or are they going to go more of a speed aspect with Noivern and Persian, or just Nihilego being a good fast Pokemon? Other than that, they have some pretty concerning Pokemon, namely in Swampert and Aegislash, because they could both be pretty hard to deal with offensively, and they have a lot of powerful moves like Head Smash on Aegislash or Ice Beam or Ice Punch on Swampert, and they're definitely noteworthy and should be definitely respected. So with that, let's get into my team. So looking at these six, this is my team I decided to bring. My main lead I wanted to go in game one with was probably going to be Tornadus and Landorus. The idea behind this is I can do an Icy Wind and Earthquake in order to kill Nihilego through Friend Guard and Follow Me support from the Clefairy. In addition, this also lets me pair pretty well against a possible Noivern lead or a possible Persian lead. And, just Tailwind helps me outspeed them if they're deciding not to go with the Trick Room mode. And Landorus does huge chunks of damage into pretty much every Pokemon on their team. Other than that, I definitely feel like most of their team is physical. Other than Nihilego, I feel like if I can get rid of Nihilego, most of the team will be physical, which is why I think the middle two, Skarmory and Salamence, can be very powerful. Intimidate and Salamence can lower the offensive output of all those physical attackers. And with that drop, I can hopefully able to get a Dragon Dance up and then outspeed their entire team and get some very good damage with Dual Wing Beat and Earthquakes, which is basically perfect coverage into their team. It doesn't hit everything for super effective, but it hits everything for at least neutral. And then we have Skarmory, who is very physically bulky, and then I gave it Roost kind of just to stall up with leftovers, and then just Iron Head, Drill Pick, and Night Slash to do damage into everything on their team for at least neutral. The idea is once I get rid of their special attackers, Skarmory can basically be a good guaranteed win condition in the end. So my last two are starting at the top left, Thunderous Therian. I decided to give it just Electro Web Thunderbolt just because it kind of hits everything on their team except for Swampert, and then the Grass Knot basically exclusively for Swampert. Sadly, Grass Knot doesn't really one-shot Swampert. However, with the Charty Bear, I should be able to take any attack from Swampert pretty well, and I should also be able to take pretty good attacks from any of those. And then finally, we have Hawlucha. Same idea as the other things. I definitely feel like they're more physically oriented. Bulk Up can help me increase my defense and my attack. And then once I get an Unburdened if I get my Unburden activated by my Citrus Berry activating, I get very powerful acrobatics in addition to completely being able to outspeed any Pokemon on their team with the Unburden. And then I have, in addition, I have Drain Punch to just get a little bit HP back, so I can increase the longevity of Hawlucha, and then Throat Chop specifically to hit Aegislash. And so with that, that's my team, and let's get into the match. So here we are for game one. So looking at my opponent's team, the main Pokemon that I was expecting to see that I don't see here is the Noivern and the Persian. Other than that, most of the Pokemon I expect. So going in, like I said, I think Tornadus and Landorus were my main lead options. So I definitely think that there's nothing really that makes me want to change that as an option, especially because I don't want to, lead something that might be able to get one shot by Nihilego in turn one. And so now I'm just thinking about what's the best in the back. And I definitely want Salamence because I think Salamence seems to be pretty good damage into them. And it looks like they have about 5 physical attackers. And then Skarmory as a fair switch in to rock and ice coverage seems like a pretty good lead here. And so this is the team I decided to go with. I'm just a little bit thinking about if, maybe Hawlucha is worth bringing. Hawlucha, can be pretty powerful into it, but I decided to just go with these because I think these are the ones I feel the most comfortable with, and also, kind of Skarmory is the best switch in, and then Salamence with Intimidate seems good. So my opponent leads Clefairy Nihilego, which is pretty much what I expected to see as a lead, and I have Tornadus Landorus as my lead. So here I just kind of decided to go with what my idea was, which is this Earthquake and Icy Wind, and break a possible sash. And this Earthquake should kill Nihilego even with the friend guard boost. So they follow me in order to play around targeted attacks or taunt, and we get the Icy Wind off, and deal a little bit of damage, but break any possible focus ashes on Nihilego and lower their speed. And then we get the Earthquake off, and we reveal that they are Shuka Berry on the Nihilego, and Nihilego is able to survive this pretty well. And this is definitely a little bit awkward. I probably could have maybe played around the idea of Shuka Berry on Nihilego a little bit better, but it's a little bit awkward because Nihilego can outspeed both my Pokemon. So they get up Trick Room, and so here I know my Landers should survive any attack from Nihilego. So I decided to just go with a double attack instead of being defensive, because, like I said, I only take probably about 40% from a max special attack modest Nihilego, no matter what move it uses. And so here I'm just thinking of whether or not I should protect with the Tornadus and decide to attack. And they have an Ice Beam on the Clefairy, which honestly I wasn't really thinking that much about, and that did a lot more than I was expecting it to do. And now with that, the Power Gem ends up killing. Power Gem was very close to probably not actually killing even with that, but definitely a little bit awkward. And with the special attack boost from Beast Boost, we're not a great shape. I definitely probably could have protected instead. Maybe I was being a little greedy there, but it happens. So with that, we bring in Skarmory, because Skarmory is really the only thing that can take an Ice Beam particularly well. And so I decide to go for the Iron Head, because I should be able to kill the Nihilego from this point. And deciding whether or not I should just attack or protect, I decided to go for the damage into Clefairy, hoping to probably kill it if I can get an attack off. So Clefairy goes for the Follow Me, and they Thunderbolt into my Skarmory, bringing it down to its 30, which is definitely not great. With that +1 special attack and me not having much special attack investment, this is not looking particularly good there. But we are able to kill Clefairy, but sadly, because I don't have any better coverage, it's just Air Slash into this Nihilego, which is going to do very little damage, as we see. And we get a little bit of HP back from the leftovers, but not particularly enough to do anything meaningful. And they bring back out Aegislash. So here, I'm definitely not feeling particularly good. However, I decided to switch out Salamence because I want to lower the Aegislash's attack, and also Skarmory, once we get out of Trick Room, if I can get a Roost up, can be very powerful into the remainder of their team. And so that's kind of the idea of what I'm trying to get into, a situation where I can get a Roost off outside of Trick Room. And so we bring out Salamence, and we lower the attack of Aegislash, and Nihilego, which doesn't really do anything, but Aegislash reveals to be White Herb, which is actually really awkward, because most of my damage calcs with Salamence into the Aegislash was with the assumption that I was going to be at -1 attack. And so with this, they end up going for the Rock Slide, and luckily for me, it misses my Salamence, and the Power Jam goes into the Tornado. So I actually got a free switch in there, which is really convenient. So from here, I'm debating on going just for a Protect to get the last turn of Trick Room. However, I'm also thinking, okay, maybe I can be a little greedy. They went with a Rock Slide, so maybe they don't have something like Head Smash on Aegislash. And Nihilego shouldn't actually be able to do too much damage into the Salamence. And so I'm thinking about just doing a Dragon Dance to get, because in this situation I think I'll be in very good shape if I get that outside of I'm in Trick Room this turn. And so here I'm just debating if I just want to Air Slash to get a little bit of damage, or maybe even go for the Double Protect. And so here I end up running out of time, and I end up going for the Double Protect because they're out of time, and I luckily get it, which is really convenient. So here, however, they go for a Head Smash into the Salamence, and I get max punished for my decision to, yeah, not go for the protect there. I probably, honestly speaking, I think that probably lost me the game. I think if I would have just protected there, I probably am in a position where I can win this game pretty convincingly. However, without it, I definitely think I'm in terrible shape. So at this point, I just go for the roost, hope they don't have Shadow Sneak or on the Aegislash, and there's not much I can do except go for an Air Slash and hope to get a flinch or something on Nihilego. They do in fact have Shadow Sneak, and they get the kill. So definitely feeling a little sad. I definitely think if I would have just protected Salamence, I'd be in pretty good shape. I would have been in shape to probably win the game. But definitely not looking the worst for my upcoming games in this position. However, this game is definitely pretty much over. Sadly, I also revealed my Focus Sash, which is not great to give them more information, especially in the game where I'm in pretty much no way to get a win here, and the Shadow Stick there ends up getting the kill. So did not go great. I definitely think there was one turn in which I could have gotten into a situation where I can win the game. However, I went for what I describe as a greedy play. Ended up not working out. So let's get into game 2. So here we are for game 2. So going into game 2, I definitely think that the best way to kind of deal with the lead they had is Salamence and Landorus. That combination seems to be very good because I think that Rapidash is the only Pokemon that can outspeed those two Pokemon on their team. And so it seems very powerful against their, everything they can do, and just double Earthquake seems like it can kind of deal huge chunks of damage into their team. And then I decided I want Skarmory still in the back. Despite it not looking that impressive, it does seem very good if we are able to get rid of Nihilego pretty quickly. And then finally I decided to go with Howlucha because Tornadus did not seem particularly useful, especially since it seems like my team's probably going to outspeed them since they are mainly Trick Room leading. So my opponent leads Aegislash and Rapidash, which I think is a very good lead for me into the Salamence and Landorus. I'm feeling pretty good. So the Intimidate is going to lower the Rapidash's attack. The Aegislash's White Herb is going to prevent it from getting intimidated. However, this makes the Rapidash damage output significantly less. And I have a very clean Dragon Dance at Earth Power, because Earth Power should be a guaranteed KO to Aegislash based on the way in which I trained it. And Rapidash really doesn't have a great way to hit Landorus for a lot of damage. And so with this, I feel like I can get a pretty clean Dragon Dance. So they go for the Flare Blitz into the Landorus, and that does almost 50% even after the Intimidate. This unquestionably makes me believe that this is a choice banned Rapidash, because that did way too much damage after the Intimidate. However, we do get a free Dragon Dance up because Earth Power does connect and get the one-shot into Aegislash, which is very convenient for me. And so that first turn went incredibly well. I'm feeling very good about my position now. So they bring out Clefairy, and it looks like their plan is to hope that Clefairy's Friend Guard prevents them from Earthquake from killing, but I'm just going to click Earthquake with Salamence, and I'm debating between Earthquake and Rock Slide on my Landorus to play around, redirection. I decided to go with Rock Slide because I don't want the Life Orb damage to kill me, because if they do survive an Earthquake from Salamence, the Flare Blitz plus Life Orb damage probably kills my Landorus, whereas without the Life Orb damage, I should be able to survive and Rock Slide's going to negate the Life Orb damage. So they end up protecting Clefairy because they just want to, get Friend Guard. And we get the Earthquake off with Salamence. And even with the Friend Guard, the +1 Earthquake kills the Rapidash, which is really nice for me, and we are in a very commanding position now at this point. So now they bring out Nihilego, and I see a very clean path right here. It's just double Earthquake, and that should guarantee kill Nihilego if it doesn't protect, and it should pretty much kill Clefairy, if not, bring it incredibly low. So with this, they protect the Nihilego, and we go for the Earthquake on the Salamence, and it does, pretty okay, but not that impressive damage into Clefairy. and the Earthquake on the Landers ends up doing, you know, not honestly not that much more, but you know, Clefairy is incredibly bulky with an EV Light. So they go for the Ice Beam, sadly revealing my Yachi Berry on the Salamence. However, because I have the Yachi Berry, I take this incredibly well. And now there's not much they can do to get past the double Earthquake this turn. I see their play. Definitely, you know, I definitely think they probably could have done it into the Landorus instead. It might have been more optimal situation, but in the end, definitely worked very well game 2, because it looks like I'm able to get the I'm going to be able to get the 4-0 right here, and yeah, so game 1 did not go my way, but game 2 went incredibly well, and with that, hopefully, you know, we can get up to game 3 and look good there. And so here we end up getting our last kill, and with that, let's get into game 3. Here we are for game 3. So I am currently just thinking about, is there any way they can really punish Salamence Landorus as a lead? And I'm really struggling to find an answer to that, because it seems like that's just a pretty hard lead for them to beat. And so I decided to just go with the same exact lead. And now, you know, after that, I'm like, is there any Pokemon that I didn't bring that seems better? And Thundurus doesn't seem particularly good, and Tornadus doesn't seem particularly good. So I just bring the same 4 with the same lead as I did in game 2, because I can't think of any reason why the other 2 would be better, and I can't see a way for them to punish my lead that I have in Salamence and Landorus. So let's get into the match. So my opponent leads Swampert and Clefairy, and I lead Salamence Landorus. And so this is definitely, I think, probably the best lead they could have for this, for my lead, to counter my lead. I do get the Intimidate on Swampert, which is really good if it's physical. And so here, I'm trying to kind of predict what they're going to do, and my guess is honestly that they're just going to double up into one of my Pokemon with Ice Beam and Ice Punch. And so I'm reading that Salamence is probably going to be what they target, especially because the Dragon Dance is probably concerning to them. However, I decided to be overly cautious, so I can switch out and then protect, and then next turn I can double up and kill Clefairy, which will be pretty nice. But I definitely think this is probably a little bit overly defensive, because they end up going for no attack on Clefairy, just to follow on me, and they go for a Curse on Swampert, negating that Intimidate I have and increasing its defense, which is really big. And so I definitely think I probably misplayed here on turn 1. I think I could have gotten to a lot better situation if I just attacked with 1. I think the switch out and attack would have been better. But here I just want to get some damage on the Swampert, because now I'm a little bit concerned with its damage output, especially because Curse, and I'm a little bit concerned about being able to kill it, because I don't have many special attackers outside of Landorus here. So they end up switching out the Clefairy into a Rapidash, which it's not the worst, but definitely not the best, because I could have maybe doubled up into the Swampert here. But the Earth Power does do huge chunk of damage into the Swampert, and the Iron Head does do very good damage into the Rapidash, even though it was resisted. But sadly here, the neutral Ice Punch ends up killing the Landorus, which I definitely was honestly a little bit surprised of, and a little bit sad though. So here we bring out the Salamence, which is gonna lower the attack of both of these Pokemon. And here I'm feeling pretty comfortable with my Salamence, and I'm just debating what they're going to do. So I'm predicting a Flare Blitz into the Skarmory, and so I'm just debating if I want to attack or Roost. Because if I get attacked by a Flare Blitz, it's probably going to bring me down to my Focus Sash, or my Sturdy. And then, so I decide I'm going to Roost and Dragon Dance, because I don't think Rapidash can do enough damage into my Salamence. And so they end up protecting the Swampert, which ends up being pretty good, because if I was going to attack with the Skarmory, I definitely would have attacked into the Swampert spot. However, they end up having Play Rough, which honestly, I didn't even remember that Rapidash had Play Rough, and that's one of the reasons why I made this decision. So my decision to Dragon Dance was probably a little bit more greedy than I should have been, because I was expecting maybe a Wild Charge from the Rapidash. And so from here, though, however, I do just decide to to switch out into the Hawlucha because I feel like I have a pretty clean switch out. And I decided to go for the Protect because I think that they're going to switch out the Rapidash and Ice Punch me, and I don't really want to take an Ice Punch from the Swampert here. And so we switch out, get a switch into Hawlucha, which is pretty clean, and we get the Protect off into Salamence. Like I said, that switch out was very obvious, and the Ice Punch does go into the Salamence bounce as I expected. And so now we get a Hawlucha in for free. We can get the bulk up, and I'm debating between Earthquake and Dual Wing Beat. Dual Wing Beat seems like it has like maybe a slight chance to kill Swampert. Earthquake never does, but Earthquake also doesn't 2-hit KO Clefairy, where Dual Wing Beat probably should 2-hit KO Clefairy, and so those are kind of the ideas. And so I decide that the extra damage onto Swampert is not as relevant as being able to possibly kill Swampert if they don't follow me, or kill Clefairy in 2 hits. And so they do follow me, and we get the Dual Wing Beat off. And as expected, it does a little bit over FAF, so I should be able to kill if I hit again. And we get the bulk up onto Hawlucha, increasing its defense and attack, which definitely makes it very good for the end game at this point. And the Ice Punch does go into Salamence, activating the Yache Berry. I'm really stretched. This doesn't look like I'm going to survive. And I just very do. Whew. Huge sigh of relief there. Was not really expecting for that to actually survive that, but with the Intimidate and the Yache Berry, just barely do. And so here we go for the Dual Wing Beat to kill the Clefairy and the Drain Punch, because that's the best damage into the Swampert. Yeah, so this is going to be really awkward because I clicked Drain Punch if Clefairy followed me and my Dual Wing Beat misses, because then Drain Punch does very little damage to Clefairy because it resists it. And so I definitely really get punished for a miss here. So Clefairy does follow me as expected. And we get the Dual Wing Beat off into the Clefairy, and we successfully hit, which is huge. And with this and the double up, I'm feeling pretty, and the Drain Punch into the Swampert, I'm feeling pretty good. And here we see the Drain Punch goes in Swampert, but it just barely survives, which is a little bit awkward because this means I'm probably losing Salamence. However, Ice Punch goes into Hawlucha, which is huge, making me in a commanding position now, because my Salamence should outspeed their team and should pretty cleanly kill almost anything else on their team. And so here they end up bringing in Absol, and so the obvious play is just to Drain Punch into Absol, and I'm basically in the situation of, do I want to read Sucker Punch on Absol? If I Protect, I can get around Sucker Punch and then either can kill Hawlucha, or kill Absol. However, if they, let's say, Protect with Absol instead, then we're in this awkward situation where maybe a crit Ice Punch on Hawlucha kills it, or maybe a Freeze could be really devastating. However, so I decide to play around the Sucker Punch though, and we get the Protect off, and we get the Drain Punch off into Absol, and it's not Sash, and we get a clean KO, which puts me in great shape. We got a crit. The crit did not matter. I did about 120% even without the crit. So the crit definitely didn't matter there. But I'm back up to max HP, and they go for the Rock Slide, which makes Salamence survive here. And yeah, and we're now in amazing shape. There's not much that they can do, especially since we know that their last Pokemon is Rapidash, and from earlier damage calcs we know the Rapidash is pretty much guaranteed to be Choice Band. And so here we just go for the Drain Punch into Swampert, and the Earthquake, in which we should know from earlier should kill the Rapidash. They end up protecting with the Swampert, and the Earthquake goes in to them and kills the Rapidash. And so at this point, we definitely feeling great. I think this game is racked up, and it looks like we're going to be able to get a week 1 win, which is a huge way to start the season. This was a really tough match and really close. I definitely think that there's a couple of misplays I made along the way. I'm not super happy with how I played, but and through the entire time, but I definitely feel like I was able to get some clean switch-ins and some safe positions in which I was able to get Dragon Dances up in game 2 and 3, and then bulk ups in this game, and able to kind of get into a position where I feel like I was able to, get some advantage. You know, Gumi's team, well, I definitely think I had a good matchup against them, and they played well. Yeah, but I'm very happy, and hopefully you enjoyed. And thank you for watching.